All right. Hey guys, so I've been uh I've been waiting to post this video quite a bit because I've had a lot of school to deal with, Grade 6 is no joke. Like, man, fractions, like how does that even, it is what it is. But as you can see here, we just barely made profit last week except for the fact that Imavov pulled off that win, clutched up. So we're looking pretty good. We're on our way to 200, and then we're going to start working with units, percentages. And so now let's just go on to this really top-heavy fight card. So we have Daniil Donachenko versus Rodrigo Senzanato. I'm going to go with Daniil Donachenko. I don't care about this fight. I probably won't be watching, but from what I've seen, Rodrigo Senzanato pretty much lost, whereas I've lost the last fight, whereas Daniil Donachenko, he looks okay. I think he is UFC worthy. All right, next we have Monster Rat Rendon versus Alice Pereira. I think they only brought Alice Pereira in because she's just that young. I'm gonna go with Alice Pereira just because of the fact that she's undefeated, and I'm pretty sure she's on a finish streak too. Whereas Monster Rat Rendon is 36 years old in the women's bantamweight division. Fuck. All right. I'm going to pick Daniil Donachenko money line. Fuck. All right. We're going to start off with Rodrigo Senzanato versus Daniil Donachenko. I'm going to go with Daniil Donachenko money line. From what I've seen, Rodrigo Senzanato, I mean, this guy pretty much lost his last fight, didn't he? Whereas Daniil Donachenko, he looks okay. I think he is UFC worthy. So I'm going to pick Daniil Donachenko money line. I'm going to predict Daniil Donachenko by decision. Okay, next we go off to Monster Rat Rendon versus Alice Pereira. So I'm going to pick Alice Pereira. Actually, I'm not going to have a pick. However, I'm going to predict Alice Pereira maybe by TKO. Monster Rat Rendon, I mean, she's 36 years old in the women's bantamweight division, right? Whereas Alex Pereira, I think they only brought her in because she's 19. And she's like undefeated, right? But I think I trust someone who's actually somewhat skilled in a Brazilian regional scene than fucking Monster Rat Rendon, okay? So we move on to, oh my god, Alden Correa versus Alessandro Costa. Wow, this fight, I don't care about this fight. It's like a flyweight NPC fight, and I don't think either of these guys have fought in the UFC before. I'm going to go with Alden Correa by decision. I'm not going to have a pick, however, because I just don't care about this fight. Okay, this is a somewhat okay fight. We have Zachary Reese versus Cedricus Dumas. I'm going to go with Zachary Reese I'm going to pick Zachary Reese by KO. Cedricus Dumas is really chinny, and I also don't think he's actually very disciplined at the moment. I think the only discipline in his life is the weight cut. I think currently he's dealing with a lot of things outside of the octagon. And I think Logan Paul is just going to smack up Boot Gang in the first round. So I'm going to pick Zachary Reese by KO. Oh my god. Jesus Aguilar versus Luis Garul. I'm going to go with Jesus Aguilar, even though I'm pretty sure he's an underdog. Luis Garul, I mean, he only beat Ozzy Osbourne. And I know Ozzy Osbourne is okay, right? Because we saw him against, what's his name? Steve Erceg. But that was on, short notice. And Ozzy Osbourne's a lot bigger than Steve Erceg. Either way, I'm going to go with Jesus Aguilar because he's only faced against, the most elite competition, whereas Luis Garul, he lost to Ozzy Osbourne, right? Jesus Aguilar, I'm actually going to pick him by decision just because they're flyweights. All right, Tatiana Suarez versus Amanda Lemos. I think this is pretty easy. She's 38. Tatiana Suarez is 34. She's much younger. She does You know, she can grapple. That's the one fucking thing she's able to do, and she does it pretty well. Whereas Amanda Lemos is like an overhand merchant, and she just gets absolutely dominated by people on the ground. Whereas Tatiana Suarez actually took a round off of Zhang Weili based on control time, right? I think this is a pretty easy pick. So I'm going to go with Tatiana Suarez. Money line, because she might just submit her ass. Okay, do not put money on this fight. I don't think it's like illegal to ever put money on Claudio Puelles or Joaquim Silva. I'm going to just go with Joaquim Silva because he has the ability to crack on the feet, whereas Claudio Puelles can just roll for a, what do you call that? A leg lock or whatever. A knee bar, that's what he does. Yeah, this fight sucks. I might not even watch it. I mean, maybe for a KO, but I'm not going to have a pick. Bro, how the fuck is this the featured fight of the prelims? Jose Medino, who's lost in the Contender Series, got dominated by Zachary Reese and got KO'd by Atiba Gautier. And he's still in the UFC. Versus Dusko Torodovic, who has a pretty similarly shit career. And the fact that Torodovic is a favorite in 2025 is just a testament to how shit this guy is. Don't pick anything because Jose Medina has a pretty good chin, so he might just outbox Dusko Torodovic. But at the same time, he's pretty fucking shit everywhere. I don't know who Dana White's getting in trouble with. Like, I don't know why he's still here, but I'm going to go with Dusko Torodovic by decision. That's my prediction. No pick, however. All right, this is a pretty interesting fight. Quang Lee versus Santiago Luna. I'm not going to pick anything just because I think it's a pretty close fight. However, I would predict Quang Lee by decision. He's kind of like... He had that scrap with... what was it? Long Zhao. And that was a pretty... Like... Before he got knocked out, it was pretty competitive, right? He's just one of these other Chinese marauder types. And I think he would do that to Santiago Luna. I have not seen Santiago Luna enough to know how good he would be in the UFC. However, I do think he is a similar level to Quang Lee. That's why I'm not picking anything. However, I will go Quang Lee by, let's say, knockout. That's my prediction. All right, this is an absolute lock. Diego Ferreira is a way underrated underdog for this fight. He is just 40. That's the only thing Hernandez has against him. Hernandez is not good on the feet. He literally only has power. He's not as good as him on the ground. I think Diego Ferreira is way craftier. I think he can pick him apart at range. And I think he does have actually a similar amount of power the way he did to Raumbetsky and Michael Johnson. I am going to go with Diego Ferreira money line against Alexander Hernandez. I think Ferreira is way underrated for this fight. It's just the fact that he's 40 and Hernandez is coming off a win against a fluke KO against Chase Hooper. Okay, we move on to Kelvin Gastelum versus Dustin Stoltzfus. Dustin Stoltzfus was, like, what is he known for? I mean, he KO'd Marc-Andre Barriou. It's not that hard to do. But he also took out, he lost to Abus Magomedov back when everyone thought he was dog shit, right? I don't think Kelvin Gastelum is to the level of being this shit. I'm going to go with Kelvin Gastelum by decision just because of the value. I do think Kelvin Gastelum does have it in him to KO Dustin Stoltzfus, but I'm going to just trust him in being the decision merchant he is as of recent. And I'm going to go with Kelvin Gastelum by decision. All right, Jared Gordon versus Rafa Garcia. This is pretty easy. Rafa Garcia, he got a really close decision against 44-year-old Vince Pichel. Whereas Jared Gordon got robbed by actually several people, including Paddy Pimblett. I'm going to go with Jared Gordon money line. And I'll pick Jared Gordon. I think he can knock his ass out. So, yeah, I think he just picks him apart everywhere. In fact, I think he's better on the ground. He's better on the feet, 100%. Jared Gordon, money line. Okay, this is a pretty easy fight to pick. Unless Rob Font, or rather not Rob Font, but the bantamweight division is like an absolute joke. I don't think David Martinez can do anything to Rob Font. Rob Font is really crafty, and he had a close decision with Gene Matsumoto and Kyler Phillips, whereas David Martinez is not proven. And if Rob Font loses this, I don't even know what to say about the bantamweight division anymore, because Rob Font's on a win streak. So this is pretty easy. I'm gonna go with Rob Font by decision. Rob Font can crack, but he's a little old for that now. He lost his power a little bit, in my opinion. So I think I'm gonna go with Rob Font by decision. I'm gonna pick that. All right, main event, the actual only fight on this fucking card. Holy shit, Noche is a joke. I'm gonna go with Gene Silva by decision. Decision only because that's actually just what do you call it? The value. I think Diego Lopez's chin. I mean, Gene Silva's really powerful, but Diego Lopez's chin I feel like it's good enough to weather a really tough storm. And I think Gene Silva will slow down, not to the point where he's going to lose the rounds, but slow down to where he won't absolutely demolish him in striking in the later rounds. And I think Gene Silva has the ability to just have the more significant strikes. I don't think Diego Lopez would ever shoot a takedown on this guy. I mean, this guy's, first of all, he's a midget in terms of height, and second of all, he has a really nasty front choke against takedowns, double legs. So I'm going to go with Gene Silva by decision. I don't think Diego Lopez was ever really that good. I think he would have lost to Movsar Evloev, and he lost to Joanderson Brito. And I think Gene Silva has the potential to be future champ, 100%, 100,000%. All right, so that was my predictions. I was going to make a recap of the last UFC event, but I just got busy with school, man. Like, bro, silent reading is tough. I don't know what to say, man. But I'll try to make one for this one, unless the event is really boring. But I will for sure make one for the next numbered UFC event, 320. See ya.